You ever feel like you're drowning in your own code? I don't mean in the pudic, "Oh, look how busy I am" kind of way. I mean really drowning. Like your screen is filled with errors you don't understand. Like your mind is blank even though you've been staring at this same bug for hours. Like your confidence, the very thing that once fueled your curiosity, is starting to slip through your fingers. That moment, right there, that's the one. That's the moment most devs quit. And if no one's ever told you this before, I want you to hear it now. Not from a tutorial, not from a documentation page, not from some glossy YouTube ad with fast cuts and fake promises. I want you to hear it from someone who's been there. Because this journey, this grind of becoming a software developer, isn't just about logic. It's not just about syntax. It's not just about mastering frameworks or chasing job offers or building the next unicorn startup. It's about resilience. It's about facing the ugliest parts of yourself and pushing through anyway. Let me tell you a story. There was a guy, let's call him Mark. Mark wasn't stupid. In fact, he was sharp. Picked up Python in a week. Built a simple to-do app. Got excited. Thought, hey, I'm kind of good at this. Started dreaming about remote work and six-figure salaries. Bought a Udemy course. Then another. Then 10 more. But then he hit that wall. You know the one where nothing makes sense anymore. The course you were following. Suddenly it's skipping steps. The error messages, they're cryptic. You're Googling. Useless. Stack Overflow feels like a foreign language. Mark started waking up anxious. Opened his laptop only to close it 10 minutes later. His GitHub went quiet. His motivation vanished. He told himself, maybe I'm just not wired for this. He quit, and no one even noticed. No celebration. No, you tried your best. Just silence. And the worst part, Mark could have made it. He was so close. But he quit at the exact moment that breaks most people. Let's talk about that moment, the one where you feel like an imposter. It sneaks in quietly. At first, you're just a little unsure. Then it grows. Why is this so hard for me? You wonder. You look around and everyone else seems to be getting it. You see highlight reels on Twitter, clean code, big job offers, glowing comments, but you're just stuck. And the devil of doubt starts whispering, maybe you're not smart enough. Let me tell you something. Every single developer you admired has been every single one. But here's the kicker, the ones who make it aren't the smartest. They're the ones who refused to quit. The ones who sat in the dark and said, I'll figure it out. If not tonight, then tomorrow. The pain you feel in that moment, it's not a sign that you don't belong. It's the sign that you're becoming a real developer. Because real development isn't about typing code fast. It's about thinking. It's about breaking problems apart and assembling the pieces again, even when the pieces fight back. It's mental endurance. It's the grit to sit in confusion without running away. And that hurts. Now, coming in at number 2 is something I've far too often. Comparison paralysis. You open YouTube to learn how to build a login system, and suddenly you're watching a 19-year-old prodigy who built an AI startup in 3 months. You scroll Twitter and see a developer who just got hired at Google. First try. And you feel like a fraud. But here's what they never tell you. Nobody posts their struggle. Nobody posts the night they cried because their React app wouldn't render. Nobody posts the week they spent debugging a semicolon. Nobody shows the fear they felt submitting their first pull request. You are comparing your real, messy, honest story to someone else's edited highlight reel. It's not fair to you, and it's killing your confidence. If all you do is measure your progress by someone else's timeline, you're going to quit before the miracle happens. So I want you to ask yourself something. Why did you start this journey in the first place? Was it just for money? Or was it because you saw something beautiful in creation? In building something from nothing? Because let me tell you, when you finally get it, when the code works and your app comes to life, there's nothing quite like it. It's electric. It reminds you that you're not just some cog in a machine. You're a creator. But to get there, you have to fight through the fog. You have to stay in the chair when everything in you wants to get up. You have to silence the voice that says, this shouldn't be this hard. Because the truth is, it is hard. It's hard for everyone. The difference is, some people are just better at hiding it. Now, let's talk about something more personal, the identity crisis that happens midway through learning to code. This one's quiet, subtle. It sneaks up on you when you've been learning for a few months. You've written some code, maybe finished a few projects. You've seen enough to know what's possible, but not enough to do it well yet. It's like standing on the edge of a mountain, knowing the summit is up there somewhere, but not being sure you've got the strength to climb. This is the point where the novelty wears off. The excitement fades. And what's left is the grind. This is where self-doubt becomes louder than progress. You start to wonder, am I really cut out for this? Do I actually want this life? What if I'm just wasting time? And it doesn't help that the world outside doesn't understand. Your friends ask, so, you just sit in front of a computer all day. Your parents ask, why don't you get a real job? And inside you're screaming, I'm trying! I'm learning! I'm building something from scratch and I'm breaking every day just trying to stay afloat. But no one sees that. No one sees the emotional weight of not understanding recursion, or the existential dread of learning JavaScript's weird type caution, or the deep frustration of version control chaos. All they see is a screen. But you're in a war against your own doubt, your own fear, your own limitations, and this is the moment where most devs, give up, not because they aren't smart, not because they're not capable, but because no one told them this part was coming. No one told them the learning curve wasn't just technical, it was emotional. But if you really knew that what you're feeling is normal, maybe you'd hang on just a little longer. Because on the other side of that doubt is something incredible, a shift, a breakthrough, a moment where it all starts to click. But before we get there, before we talk about the transformation that happens after this darkest moment, I need to show you something else, seed in something almost no one talks about, but everyone feels. Let's talk about what happens next, the hidden battle most devs don't even realize they're fighting. It's not bugs or syntax errors, it's the loneliness. Yeah, loneliness. Because coding isn't just a skill, it's often a solitary journey. You sit behind your screen for hours, fingers tapping, eyes darting back and forth. You solve puzzles, but mostly you wrestle with your own mind. When you first started, it was exciting. Every new error was a mystery waiting to be cracked. Every new line of code felt like progress. But then as the months wear on, the silence starts to feel deafening. You're not just debugging code anymore, you're debugging yourself. Why am I stuck on this problem? Why can't I figure this out? Why does it feel like I'm the only one struggling? This is where the quiet despair creeps in. And the hardest part, it's not just the work itself. It's feeling like you're alone in the fight. You watch others collaborate on projects, join communities, get feedback, and celebrate wins together. And you wonder why you're missing out. Maybe you've tried reaching out, but the replies were slow. Or maybe you didn't even know where to look. This isolation is toxic because it feeds the narrative that you're not good enough, that you're the odd one out. But here's what I want you to understand. Feeling alone is part of the process. It's a sign that you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. And there's a kind of purity in that loneliness, a rawness that can either break you or forge you into something stronger. So if you're feeling isolated right now, I want you to remember something powerful. You're not alone. Every developer who ever made it through the other side has stood in that same empty room. They've felt that silence suffocate them, but they chose to reach out, to find their tribe, to connect with others who understood the struggle. And that's when things start to shift. But before we dive deeper into how to turn that loneliness into power, there's another hidden moment, one that almost always follows this phase. I call it the moment of surrender. Because here's the truth nobody talks about. Sometimes, to move forward, you have to let go. You have to surrender your expectations. You have to admit that you don't have all the answers. That's brutal for someone who's been pushing themselves hard, hoping for quick wins and clear progress. But surrender isn't defeat. It's acceptance. It's saying, I don't have to know everything right now. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to keep trying. When Mark, the guy I told you about earlier, hit his breaking point, that's what he needed most. Not another course, not another tutorial, but the permission to be human. Because the path of a developer isn't a straight line. It's a winding road filled with potholes, wrong turns, and detours. And surrendering to that reality is what allows you to breathe again, to open your eyes to new ways of learning, to find joy in the small wins instead of obsessing over the failures. It's the quiet revolution in your mindset that changes everything. So if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or like you just want to quit, try this instead. Give yourself permission to not have it all figured out. Embrace the struggle, celebrate the tiny victories, and know that every error message is actually a step forward. Because here's the secret: every bug fixed is a lesson learned. Every frustrating hour is an investment in your future self. And the next phase, that's where the real magic begins. It's where you stop surviving and start thriving. You start to see your growth not just in lines of code, but in the confidence you build. You realize that every challenge was shaping you, not just as a developer, but as a person. You begin to understand that coding is less about perfection and more about persistence. And persistence is the greatest skill you can have in this field. That's the moment when the majority who quit could have stayed. But most don't, because persistence demands more than just technical skill. It demands heart. It demands patience. It demands a deep belief that you are capable of more than you think. And here's the truth I want to leave you with if you're on this journey right now. Struggling with doubt, loneliness, and that nagging voice in your head, you are exactly where you need to be. This is the crucible that forges every great developer. The question is, what will you do next? Will you quit, or will you lean in? Will you let the fear silence you, or will you use it as fuel? Because the most powerful moment in your journey isn't the first time your code runs without error. It's the moment you choose to keep going, despite everything trying to tell you to stop. And if you can hold on just a little longer, I promise you, your breakthrough is coming. Thank you for being here, for listening, and for fighting. If this spoke to you, share your story, reach out, find your community, because no developer is meant to walk this path alone. Keep building, keep learning, keep believing. Your moment is closer than you think.